Welcome into 49ers Access. My name is Sterling Bennett, and what a terrible day to be a San Francisco 49er fan. We came in with some high hopes against the Los Angeles Rams and are leaving with our tails tucked between our legs after a rather humiliating 42-26 loss against the NFC West division rival. And today we are going to dive into it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, the Brock Purdy of it all, an update for the franchise quarterback. How did Mac Jones do, and what did that Niners defense do on defense today? Because Matthew Stafford was dicing it up left and right. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave us that 5-star audio podcast review. And let's dive in to the San Francisco 49ers Week 10 loss against the Los Angeles Rams. They no longer hold the tiebreaker over Los Angeles and drop to 6-4 on the season, making their climb up the NFC playoff picture a little bit harder as they now go into week number 11 in 2025. And I think it's time to just be honest. The San Francisco 49ers got beat by a better team. It is something I have been trying to say the last couple weeks. It's something that unfortunately has yet to click with many of the fan base just yet. The Rams, albeit aren't perfect, their defense isn't great. Niners offense had plenty of chances today to put up more points than 26. However, that Rams offense is the best in football so far this year, with a quarterback playing at an MVP level with a team that is completely healthy. It's okay to admit you are not the better team. Sometimes that happens. Today, it was abundantly clear who the better team was. And that isn't to say San Francisco couldn't be a better team if they were fully healthy. Yeah, with Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and Brock Purdy and Pearsall and Brandon Aiyuk and, hell, even Michael Williams and Yetur Gross-Matos and even Alfred Collins, who didn't play in this one. Yeah, San Francisco walked in playing backups of backups, and somehow fans are angry. Somehow fans are asking, well, why didn't you make a trade at the deadline? This is why you had to. No, this is exactly why they didn't make those trades. This is exactly why I can't even be mad at a game like this. Yes, San Francisco had a fighting chance. You do every single Sunday. This is the NFL. However, we know for a fact the Rams are a high-powered offense, scoring nearly 30 points a game on now a 4-game winning streak. They wanted to come in and annihilate you. And they did. Now, do I think the Rams are holding their heads a little bit too high? 1,000%, right? Their last 4 wins have been against, right now, the banged-up Niners defense, playing their C and D list guys on defense. That at some weeks can be awesome. On some weeks, like today, it can be really bad, right? They also beat the Saints, who have Tyler Shug playing quarterback, who looked really good today against the Panthers, but it's the Panthers, right? They played the Lamar Jackson-less Baltimore Ravens. This isn't a game where I think Rams fans or the Rams themselves should feel really good about themselves. Who'd you beat, right? Who'd you beat? You're not playing the San Francisco 49ers at full strength. There really isn't much to take away from this game outside of you just got your ass handed to you, and that's okay. However, I do think this is an opportunity for fans to finally sit back and realize you are not in the same class as the Los Angeles Rams in 2025, and that's okay. You weren't supposed to be. We're not supposed to be right now. San Francisco was not supposed to beat the Rams in week 5 on a short week without Nick Bosa, and they did. This was what week 5 was supposed to look like, and it wasn't. Yeah, this team is gritty. They're young. They're flying around. They're making plays. They're also making a ton of mistakes. This is a rather poorly coached game on defense. Saleh's, another bad one through the last 3 weeks or so. It's 2 in his last 3 weeks. Not great. Playing soft off-zone coverage. That secondary, again, had miscommunication. There was guys wide open. I can't tell you how many checkdowns there was, just wide open. The linebackers weren't there. D. Winters was terrible. Luke Gifford was really bad once again. It's like, it's not like this Niners defense didn't play good. Bernardo Green got picked on the entire game by Davante Adams, who now wants to discuss the San Francisco 49ers not signing him. Yeah, dude. Like, you're not helping this team go to a Super Bowl. You help the Rams maybe go for sure, but San Francisco is not on that trajectory this year. And to a comment in the YouTube chat saying, but the Rams beat the Colts barely because Adonai Mitchell, who got traded by the Colts, dropped the football just prior to the end zone, and a 30-yard touchdown run by Jonathan Taylor got called back for holding. Like this, the Rams are a really good team. Yes, they are a top or near the top and belong in the conversation for the top team in the NFC this season. However, I think we really should discuss that, the Rams are a great team. They beat San Francisco. But there have been some wins that aren't really that impressive, including today. Now, you score 42 points on anybody, that is impressive. This offense in Los Angeles was always going to be really impressive. You have two amazing wide receivers, one guy still in his prime. You have a serviceable running game playing a defensive line that doesn't have 5 defensive linemen out there, and 4 of those guys would start for you in this game if they were healthy. And you're playing with Matthew Stafford playing at an amazing level. Meanwhile, that doesn't mean San Francisco just writes it off and says whatever. This was an ugly game by San Francisco's defense. Mustafa was covering Davante Adams in a goal line situation. Why? I love Mustafa. I want him racing in, hammering people, not in coverage against one of the best, if not the best, red zone route runner in football still to date. I don't want that. I never want that. Lenore, why aren't you on him? Green, you weren't having a great game, but you give me a better chance on him being a cornerback compared to a safety. San Francisco has a lot of questions leaving this one. Can you rely on D. Winters the rest of the year? I think you can, but he was terrible in the flat. There is no recognition of the play for him. He's just running out of lanes, and too many guys are cutting inside when the play is going outside. There is a lack of skill. That's what you can chalk this up to. San Francisco got beat by a better team that has better skill players, a better trench warfare because guys are healthy currently. And that's just on defense. Like the Niners, this got outplayed. But I don't think this has, and I hate this narrative that, well, San Francisco played like a team that looked defeated because the organization didn't make a deal at the trade deadline. One trade is not making up a 16-point deficit today. 2 trades aren't making up a 16-point deficit. Now, health could certainly help them. However, no deal they were going to make was going to help them today. I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to accept that. In fact, I do think, and this is a great question right here by Jesus saying, reality check? Yes, this game, I hope, is a reality check for Niner fans out there. I want to go to the Super Bowl and win. We all do. I believe this team can still go to the playoffs. They aren't out of things by any means. However, you have to understand there are levels to these things. It's something I came to terms with entering the season. I told you guys, hey, 10-7, wild card. People saying 12-5, 13-4. That's crazy. Now, if they were healthy, maybe they rise above the expectations, but they're not healthy. They were never going to be healthy. They never are healthy. Now, you couldn't predict what's happened so far this year, but I think we walked in, or some fans walked into this year with too high of expectations for a team that gutted salary, paid 3 guys big money, said, hey, 6 new rookies on defense, go start for us. Some guys in newer projects that weren't going to play, Jordan James, Jordan Watkins, Nick Martin. And somehow fans said, yep, they're going to be an NFC winning team. No. And I think if you lower your expectation for this team playing so many rookies, so many unreliable veteran players out there that are going to be booms and busts week by week, you can start to see that, yeah, this team is good. They're not great. In some weeks, they're bad. You know what that gets you? A winning record, but also some really ugly games like this. Now, I do want to state that San Francisco desperately has to find a safety. Jair Brown's not it. We've known that. I've said it for 3 weeks now. He ain't the guy. I'm and right now kind of pro to going back to playing Marquise Siegel, right? Like Brown's playing so bad, what could Siegel not offer you? And Siegel wasn't playing great either, but like get him out there, right? Pinnock was terrible today at safety. He shouldn't be out there. I want to see Stout and Chase Lucas and all that stuff. Like, I don't want to see guys that are veteran players like Pinnock and even Brown to a certain extent, that guys that you just know don't have it. I'm tired of seeing Jair Brown blitzing quarterbacks when you know a running back is going to stand him up in pass protection. It doesn't work. And I think that really is what Robert Saleh has to work with. Like he's making, for lack of better terms, chicken salad out of chicken crap at times, right? Like Jair Brown is starting safety on this team that's won 6 games. That's impressive. They have a 7th round rookie playing middle linebacker replacing a future Hall of Famer. And they've won a handful of games. That's impressive. He's playing a 6th round pick linebacker coming into a big year for him, that being D. Winters, who has been really good at times and also really bad at times. That's the game you play. You're playing Luke Gifford as a Sam linebacker, and you have fans clamoring for where's Nicholas Martin? Where's Nicholas Martin? Now, I didn't love that pick in the 3rd round initially. Don't love it now. It remains to be seen when he does. But if you're asking for Nicholas Martin to play Sam linebacker, I got a lot to tell you. He doesn't play Sam linebacker. He plays Will linebacker. They want him to learn to play Sam linebacker. He's in the process of learning that. He's not good enough to play Sam linebacker yet. That's why Gifford is playing. And so if you want to play Nicholas Martin, you got to bench D. Winters. Do you want to do that? Probably not. And so they're kind of hamstrung because of the injuries. They can't mix and match and bench guys everywhere, right? Green wasn't having a great game. Adams was dicing him up on the outside. Okay, it's a 2nd-year cornerback against maybe a future Hall of Famer. You expect that to be the case. It's like, come on. Like, you can't sit back here and say, well, I want this and I want that, and not realize you are going to face lumps anyways. This team was always going to have hurdles to take, and I can swallow getting boat raced by an elite defense with half your by an elite offense, with half your defense on the sideline not playing because they're injured. I can accept that. I walked in saying, yeah, San Francisco has a chance, but there's a little bit of a concern they might get boat raced on Sunday. And they did. Now it sucks. Nobody wants that, but this was kind of in the cards. Whether it's the injuries, whether it's how they're playing, like when you play young players, you are going to have to ride the roller coaster. And somehow the fan base just doesn't want to accept that. They're expecting quality play. They're expecting consistency out of young guys. And some of those players can be consistent, sure. I have really liked the growth from Upton Stout this year. He started off okay, got really bad. It is, albeit not perfect, starting to fight back, right? I loved what I saw from Alfred Collins this year before he got hurt, before this game started. Like, not great in training camp. There was no preseason stuff, really. He didn't have his conditioning. The legs were under him. Now he's kind of an integral part of your interior defensive line. That's really good things to see. However, in that, you are going to find many lumps along the way. And Niner fans, not as a whole, but a large part of them, I see on social media screaming, why this and why that? And the front office didn't want to go all in, and this team knows they're not good enough. The front office knows not good enough. They sold us a lie. This team didn't sell you nothing they aren't showing you right now. They didn't promise you they were going for a Super Bowl. They didn't tell you they were going for a Super Bowl. They told you, hey, take a step back, retool like the Rams did a couple years ago, remain competitive, then hopefully in a couple years, go after it. That was always the plan. It's not their fault. You decided that wasn't the plan. Like, I have friends who I love in the community saying, they just gave up. They're punting. They're not punting. They're just not good enough to beat teams like the Rams. Now, yes, the Rams got cold in this game offensively. There were opportunities in there. They were a 4th and 1 stop in the first half and a Juwan Jennings fumble in the first half from maybe leading or at least tying this game up. This game wasn't out of reach. No game this season for San Francisco will likely be out of reach through three quarters. This game, like the Texans game, which wasn't great either, was never really out of reach until the fourth quarter. The Niners are a gritty team that's young. They're going to make mistakes, but they're always going to fight. They're always going to fight and scratch and claw, and that's what you want. Now, games like this aren't fun. I didn't have fun. I had friends over watching the game with me. One was a Seahawks fan. They crushed the Cardinals at home. But even Seattle had like 4 goal line stops against the Cardinals. And if those things didn't pan out for them, that game looks different too. But they're sitting there clowning me. Oh, the Niners look terrible. They're not a good team. And I'm like, you're not telling me anything I don't know. Like, a genuine question to you listening or watching on YouTube, what were you expecting this year? Were you expecting a flawless game every single week? They fought. They didn't give up. They had a chance, albeit not in the fourth quarter, but before that, the 3 quarters prior, they did. I don't know what the expectation was, because for me, it was like, this is what I believe was going to happen. You're going to split with Seattle, split with the Rams, split with the Cardinals, maybe, hopefully sweep them. That can certainly happen next weekend. And you can beat the Titans, and you can beat the Bears, you can beat the Browns. Like, the Niners are going to be in this thing till the end. But to overreact to this thing, oh, it's over, and they punted, and they don't believe, things are cyclical, right? Any sport's that way. There are dynasties that crumble. Like, take the Yankees, for example, right? The Yankees have 27 World Series rings. They've been to Super Bowls, sure. Or World Series, excuse me, wrong sport. They've been to a couple World Series, but they haven't won since 2009. Like, it's been a long time. Their fans are angry like Niner fans are. They want to win. They've been there, and they lost against the Dodgers. They've almost gotten there, and it's frustrating, and they want to win so bad. They expect to win so bad, just like San Francisco does. And I'm there with you. I want to win. But what did you expect this year? What did you expect? We have a comment here by Rob. Rob, love you. Thank you for the comment. He says, I expected the year we are having, and that was considering none of the injuries we had. So this is impressive. Thank God for number 10. It's a great segue. And I think it's the truth. This is exactly what we saw, or I predicted coming into the year. Sometimes I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot. I was wrong today. I was wrong last weekend. I thought 27-23. It was 42-26. I'm honestly more shocked San Francisco scored 26 points than the Rams got 42, to be honest with you. That's where my head's at right now. But Mac Jones, I thought, was, albeit not perfect today, was by far, not a problem at all. Like, yeah, there was the interception, sure, but the refs were not calling DPIs on the Rams, and the one time they did, it was offsetting, and the other time it was a catch by Kittle. It didn't matter anyways. That's frustrating. A lot of the critical plays in the first half were Juwan Jennings, Kittle, and some more guys that the Rams got there early on, hit them early, and the ball wasn't a catch, and that should have been a DPI or holding or whatnot on LA. Now, that wasn't the biggest factor in the loss, but it certainly was a factor early in the game. That, I think, changed some things for the Niners offense and gave the Rams a chance to score a big lead early. That said, Mac Jones was good today, I think, slinging the ball around, having a nice game overall. He threw for 319 yards, threw 39 times, threw 3 touchdowns and 1 INT. Like, he was far from the problem. He was in the pocket, getting hit. I think it was relatively efficient. There wasn't, a lot to go wow from, but it was a rather consistent day from Mac Jones, who kept San Francisco in the game with his arm. He was getting hammered today. Jake Brendel started. Don't love that. Really bad once again. I'm surprised. Burford started the game at left guard, and Ben Barch came in, and he went back to Burford, and I don't know if they're rotating things, but there's a lot of pressure on Mac Jones today in the pocket, right? Moving around. and they were in his face a lot. And I think that, like he wasn't sacked much. Like it wasn't like he was getting hammered over and over again, but there was constant pressure in his face. And I do think that, he was moving around in the pocket, trying to make some plays. And one of the more impressive plays was, I don't know if it was designed this way, but it was like the fake pocket collapsing screen to Luke Farrell in the left side of the flat of the field for a touchdown. I was like, I don't know if that was on purpose, but it worked either way. If it was on purpose, that was genius by Kyle Shanahan to kind of fake the screen to the right, had the pocket collapse, and his half barrel sitting wide open in the flat. That was really awesome to see. You had Jawan Jennings go for a touchdown again, I believe, in today's game. You had Brian Robinson score an awesome touchdown today. Kill got a touchdown. Like, Brian Robinson's touchdown was incredible. Like, he runs the football in the red zone. A guy has him dead to rights. He just trucks the sucker right off him and goes to the end zone. It's like, yes, that's what he's there for. Like, he's gaining momentum. He's looking like the RB2 you want, the power back to help you end drives and kind of, free Christian McCaffrey late in drives to save his legs. Like, there's a lot to like in this game from San Francisco's offense. They scored 26 points against the Rams. Keep in mind, they scored 26 points in 5 quarters against this Rams defense in week 5. And I think they could have scored more. Like, Pinheiro gets, the PAT blocked. That sucked. His first missed kick, if you want to call it that, since week 2 against the Saints. It just wasn't their day. And I don't think that's that's going to happen. And I think, one thing Kendrick Bourne said after the game was that he thinks that sometimes San Francisco gets too, not lazy, but too relaxed after wins. And it's funny because when I heard that, I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. What does their week to week look like so far this year? And they're 6-4, right? They won the first 3 games. However, since week 3, they beat the Cardinals. Then they lose to the Jaguars. Okay, they bounce back. They beat the Rams on a short week. Then they go to Tampa, lose to Tampa Bay. Then they come back home, beat the Falcons, go on the road, lose to the Texans, go on the road, beat the Giants, come back home, lose to the Rams. I mean, there is a realistic part of this that San Francisco may at times take their foot off the gas. They're a young team. Sometimes maybe they're going to get unfocused. And when you lose guys like Warner and Bosa, and you lose guys like Huff for a week or two and Alfred Collins today, and you lose Michael for the rest of the season, and you have guys in and out of your rotation, and you play young guys, they can get unfocused at times. That's part of the ups and downs on defense. And you go to the offense too, where the offense, it's not been that great this year. I know we're winning, and I tried to hit this point home on the Cover 3 podcast last week coming into this game was like, the only reason why fans are liking this and Mac Jones, who again was good today, a lot of good throws, wasn't great, but a lot of good throws, standing in the pocket and trying to make some plays with his arm, but you're winning. So you like the winning, you like the result, but the way to get there can be easier if you have better players on your roster, obviously. And the offense still, I think this is right now, this is the 4th time they have scored over 26 points or more in this season. The other times they have scored 26 points, they have scored 26 points exactly in 3 of those games. And one of those was an overtime game. The offense doesn't put up more points. For as bad as the defense was today, the offense didn't help them. This was a very eerily similar game to the Texans game a couple weeks ago, where the defense early is rattled. They're kind of like, whoa, we got hit in the face by Matthew Stafford and company. We're kind of dazed right now. Can somebody help us? Can somebody keep us alive? Give us a long drive. Get us off the field. Get us to kind of refocus on the sideline. Give us some time to kind of recoup and kind of, get ourselves together again. What does the offense do in this one? Like the Houston Texans game, they didn't help them very much. You go to the drive-by drive, The Rams, first drive of the game, smack San Francisco in the mouth. Stafford has guys wide open. He's dicing up the secondary. And we're all saying this is going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day, right? San Francisco goes 3 plays, 8 yards, a minute and 20 seconds, 3 and out. Quite the answer. Now, I think on that drive, Forbes probably could have got called and should have got called for a DPI, but okay, I digress. Make better plays offensively. Okay, so you let the opponent go down 10 plays, 4.5 minutes, 64 yards on your young defense that is rattled now at home, playing a quarterback that wants to just sink his teeth into you throughout the entire game. You go 3 and out and hand the ball right back to him, and he goes 7 plays, 85 yards. You give him a free 5 yards on first down. You lose Bethune on the drive, and only this drive of the game. And you have big chunk plays for 14 yards and 22 yards and 23 yards. And it felt like the screen game was wide open for the Rams defense all day. San Francisco will blitz, and there ain't no one home because Stafford just bloop, right over the top to wide open guys on the outside, and they have 5 blockers leading the way in front of them. It happened almost on the entire second drive of the game for the Rams. Missed tackles on Puka Nacua's touchdown reception on that second drive, making it 14-0. Jair Brown, with the guy in front of him, sure, has the angle, gets by him a little bit, and just shoots towards the outside, and Puka just goes, I'm going to go on the inside, whoop, and gone. Bad tackling. Jair Brown shouldn't start anymore. It's pretty obvious, right? Siegel should start, because if you're going to have bad safety play, at least have the bad safety be a rookie or a young guy trying to make his own in the NFL. So you're down 14-0. Awesome. How does your offense respond? Okay, still in the game. It's first quarter. Okay, it's not great, but we can stop the bleeding now. Again, a long drive, put some points up. Just like the Texans game, how does San Francisco respond? 5 plays, they're moving the ball downfield, right? 3-yard run, false start by Jauan Jennings, his one of 2 issues on this drive that killed San Francisco's offense. Then on second 12, a 14-yard reception to George Kittle. The next play, another 14-yard pass to Jauan Jennings. Moving the ball, feeling good. Then Jones hits Jauan for 13 more yards, going to put you near the red zone of the Rams. And then that ball gets knocked out by Landman. Jauan fumbles, ball right back into the Rams' offensive hands. What do they do once again? 9 plays later, 59 yards later, 4.5 minutes later, like the previous 2 drives, they score a touchdown. For as bad as the defense was in this game, and it wasn't great by any means, the pass rush wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't great, especially early in this one on those first 3 drives. Stafford was clean throughout the entire game, at least in that first half or so. Guys weren't getting to him until later in the game. He had a couple of sacks today. Clea Davis had, I think, 1, if not a big TFL. There was some production from the defensive line and pass rush, but still, early in the game, the first half, just where the defense struggles, like any good team, and San Francisco was great at this in their run, 2021, 22, 23. When the offense wasn't good early in games, the defense picked them up, right? They got a big stop, play bend, don't break, kept it a 1-score game, kept you in it, and made sure that a touchdown or a 2 scores, be a field goal, touchdown, 10 points, you're right back in it, you had the lead. It makes your life easier. It creates less panic on the sideline. It allows you to not have to dig yourself out of a big hole. Now we're here, and in 2025, where the defense is struggling and the offense is not helping them. Now, the offense can say, well, we scored 26 points today. It could have been 27, right? It could have been 29. It could have been 30. However, those first 3 drives killed the game for San Francisco. You gave Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua and Davante Adams and Kyron Williams and Sean McVay and the Rams defense, who's actually, albeit not great, at least good up front on the defensive line, gave them free 21 points because your offense couldn't answer. And it wasn't because the Rams were playing phenomenal defense, right? On the first 3 drives for San Francisco, it's a 3 and out, a fumble, then a 4th and 1 stop because Christian McCaffrey can't get to the one, can't gain 1 yard because, the offensive line blows a block or 2. I don't know why he didn't quarterback sneak there, but I digress. Just when your defense struggles, you have to play complementary football. And when you don't do that, well, then guys get into holes. Your team falls down 21-0, and it's insurmountable against an offense like this. I don't think that's too crazy to say. When the defense wasn't good, the offense started equally as bad. And that was the biggest factor in this game. You cannot give Matthew Stafford 21 points and say, hey, you're winning 21-0. Good luck, because when that happens, you go to the score again. San Francisco's down 21-0. They just turn the ball over on downs near their own goal line. What do? They force the Rams to punt. Then they score a touchdown. They force the Rams to punt, and the offense can't score again. But then they go into halftime, and they're only down 14-21 out of the first drive of halftime. They score again. It's a one-score game out of halftime, basically, right? But then the Rams score, then San Francisco scores. Now we're answering each other back and forth, and oh my goodness, the Niners have life in this game. And then Jones gets picked off. Wasn't his fault. And the Rams score a touchdown, and San Francisco scores a touchdown. But if you think about it, in the second half alone, the Rams scored 1, 2, 3 times. San Francisco also scored 1, 2, 3 times. The biggest difference in this game was the first half offense not answering how bad the first half defense was. Because the defense picked up in a very small chunk in that second half, making a way for San Francisco's offense to climb their way back into things. And it just, when one thing clicked, the other didn't. And you can't win that way. You're not getting takeaways. You're not getting turnovers. They haven't really all year. And you're playing a better team than you. That's just kind of what this game was. Now, a lot of bad play. Lou Gifford was getting targeted all day. That wasn't great. He's not getting benched, though, because Martin can't play Sam linebacker. He's too small. Green, diced up by Stafford and Davante all day. Not great. Second-year cornerback, bound to struggle at times. Not benching him. He was out-physicaled. He was lost on a lot of the cuts, a lot of the routes that Davante was running, the double moves, all that stuff, the pick plays. It was a nightmare for him. Stout, albeit wasn't as bad, wasn't great either. Jair Brown was lost a ton. The defense wasn't put in the right place to succeed a lot in this one by Saleh and company. Now, when they were put in places to succeed, they had a short stint of really nice play, forcing punts and getting the Niners offense back into the game. Now, in offense, it's really hard to pick holes in it besides that first 3 drives by them, because altogether it really wasn't bad. Scored 26 points. It's fine. That can win you a lot of games in the NFL. But you can't fumble. You can't give the ball up. You can't, you can't be down 35-20 and, get a ball picked off, right, by Emmanuel Forbes because, you're throwing to Christian McCaffrey and for 5 yards, 4 yards, and then gets picked off, right? There's a couple of plays by Mac Jones where, albeit it wasn't always his fault, there was into traffic and balls were tipped in the air and they had to get batted down by receivers. And, for as good as Mac Jones played, there was some mistakes in this one. I will often go back to this because I think it's really important to say, and without having the actual film in front of my face, I can't say it with guarantee. But again, Christian McCaffrey, 12 carries, 30 yards. Now, the Rams' run defense was much better in this one. Brian Robinson had more success. I don't mind you going that way, but Christian McCaffrey, 20 touches, 96 yards. Why is Christian McCaffrey only getting 2.5 yards a carry? And only 12 carries. It wasn't working. Sure, the score early dictated that, but I would have loved to have seen CMC targeted more in this game, albeit that's a very small nitpick of the outcome. But you saw Kendrick Bourne got involved. Demarcus Robinson probably had his best game so far for San Francisco. 3 for 34 on 4 targets. Jauan Jennings, still a big factor in this one, minus the fumble and the false start. George Kittle, still feed George Kittle all day. He felt like for a short period of time, your best player, like bringing you back offensively. And really, like most Sundays, you can, I can sit here, you can be in the comments or in front of your TV questioning every play. Why that happened? How this happened? Why this happened? But sometimes games are just chalk. And it's really simple. Just got outplayed by a better team. And I know that's not a fun podcast for you guys, or, not really a nice, nitty gritty thing, but I don't buy into, oh, you had to make a trade. Not really a talking point. You just got your butt handed to you. I don't buy into the team looked and came out defeated because the front office failed them. I don't buy that. You're 6-3. Go out there and play your damnedest. Play your best football. That's what you're paid to do. You're not paid to mope and whine and complain because you're 6-3. You earned that record. Go out there and play that way. The Niners did not play this game as bad as I think the box score indicates. It was a really bad start that had terrible offense and terrible defense, and it was an insurmountable hole to dig themselves back from. That's what this was. Now, it sucks, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. And you have to play better football. You can't go into drives and be down 7-0, and your response by Kyle Shanahan and company is to, run the football for 1 yard, throw an incomplete pass, pass for 7 yards, run it for 1 yard on 3rd and 2, go for a shotgun short completion to Jauan Jennings, then punt. Yeah, Jauan, again, it may have been a DPI on 4, but still. Okay, that doesn't work, fine, whatever. I thought special teams was great minus the one blocked PAT. That was the most consistent unit on the field today. And dare I say it may be San Francisco's most consistent unit all year long besides week 1. It's been really good. Brant Boyer deserves the Coach of the Year honors because of how he turned the worst unit in the league last year into one of the best. I think Thomas Morstead was a great punter. And when you're talking about punts, not a great game. Saran Neal has been a great gunner for the 49ers. But then you're down 14-0, and you respond with a 3-yard run, a 5-yard false start, a bunch of big passes, and a fumble. Okay, now you're down 21-0. And you're at the goal line. You're feeling good about yourself, and you go 2-yard run, 5-yard pass. On 3rd and 3, you get 2 yards. Right, you're in perfect 4th down conversion, and you go for it, and you don't get it. Yeah, guys, Jake Brendel was terrible. Jair Brown was terrible. Green wasn't great. But, there is a way. It may be tricky. You can finagle your way into buying that San Francisco had a chance in this one, but that sucks. I'm not going to get into 3rd downs and this and that, because this game isn't even really worth getting into that in depthly, because they just got beat by a better team. It's okay to say that. It wasn't a great day for Saleh. Wasn't a great day for the defense. It was a really bad start for the offense, and that's that. That said, I don't know if you guys caught the end of Kyle Shanahan's press conference, because he stated that Brock Purdy was healthy enough to play in this game, and they elected not to play him. Now, let that sink in. Well, I tell you to utilize our promo code 49ersaccess, 49ERS, ACCESS at SeatGeek.com to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. I know this game wasn't pretty, but San Francisco has a lot of winnable games coming up, and I think will be entrenched in the playoff picture and race as the year goes on. 6-4, albeit isn't what you want. It really is not the end-all, be-all. You have plenty of games left. weeks 11 through 18, 7 more ahead of you. You're going to be just fine. Let's breathe for a second. And while you breathe, go on SeatGeek.com and buy some tickets and use our promo code 49ers Access, 49 ERS ACC ESS at SeatGeek.com to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. Okay, let's get into this Brock Purdy Shanahan quote, because Shanahan basically said, and I will specify, Strawberry, I see in the comments, I will specify, it's called the tease for the podcast and watchers live right now and tomorrow morning on Monday. It's called the tease. I work in radio. We'll get there. Shanahan essentially said that Brock Purdy was healthy enough to play, but he didn't play him. And a lot of people, and I think Strawberry thinks I was going there, but I'm not. Just wait for me here. A lot of people will take that and twist it and manipulate it and say, see, he was soft benched. See, Mac Jones is a starter. Sometimes critical listening is hard. And I've already seen people talk about it. Soft bench. Oh, Purdy's been benched. Shanahan did say Purdy was healthy enough to play. However, we wanted to avoid the situation that happened against the Jaguars, where this wasn't his words, I am now putting these words in his mouth, but this is kind of what he said, rushed him back and set him back in his recovery, and we didn't want that to happen again because he's our starting quarterback. And I'm going to see fans say, well, why would they say that? Because San Francisco playing on grass, Brock Purdy was kind of questionable coming into the game, but do you let him wait a little bit? Turf toes are tricky. The extra week off probably helps. Mac's been taking all the first team reps, basically, although Purdy's been gearing up. Purdy's on the mend and will likely, not reporting this, but likely come back against the Arizona Cardinals next weekend. I think it's a great game to come back against. You're on the road. It's Purdy's hometown. You're playing against a better defense than you were early in the season, but isn't the Rams. It isn't the Buccaneers. It isn't the Texans. Like, you're kind of giving him an easier return, if you will. He's got Christian McCaffrey. He's got George Kittle. He might have Pearsall back. He has Jawan Jennings. Like, you just take Jones out of this game and you put Purdy in, the outcome is probably the exact same thing. Maybe there is some avoidances of some plays by Purdy, but that isn't the point, right? You are getting a higher caliber player on your offense playing against a defense that allowed 42 points against the Seahawks today. Now, San Francisco can score 26 points again. They're probably going to win that game. And so the way I interpreted that was basically, Purdy was healthy enough, didn't want to push it. And I think that to me indicates that he's coming back. They know he's coming back. They realize that we want Purdy to be healthy when he returns, and the extra week gives him a little bit more rest. But fans are going nuts. Oh, people are going to Mac Jones, and Mac Jones is good, and he's better than Brock Purdy, and he's not. But Mac Jones has played serviceable like any other backup. Dude, great job. Heck of a job. But the big dog's back, and you got to sit down. I don't care what Tom Brady says. I don't care what Richard Sherman says. Yeah, Mac Jones playing really good football. Awesome. Purdy can play better than that. We've seen him play better than that. And so I want to just kind of say it. That was not Shanahan saying we did not play Brock Purdy because we believed in Mac Jones more than him, or we're choosing Mac Jones. That was, we're not playing Brock Purdy because, yeah, we believe in Mac Jones. You believe in Mac Jones, sure, having a good season for us. But we realize that Purdy isn't 100% just yet. And if he's 98%, that isn't 100% just yet. I'd rather have him return when he's 100%, hopefully, albeit not guaranteeing, helping the team get better and helping Purdy hopefully increase to 100% by next Sunday's game. Now, Purdy's never going to be 100%. He'll be 99.9% throughout the year, always risking a re-injury of the toe, which you hope doesn't happen. Albeit I know some do, which is just terrible. But if people try to tell you Shanahan said Purdy was healthy enough to play and didn't play him because Mac Jones is better, or hint towards that, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. Like Joseph says here in the YouTube chat, if he's 98%, he should be back. No. You don't toy with your franchise quarterback's health. And by your own words, Joseph, you like Mac Jones. You would stick with Mac Jones. So you should be happy he wasn't back today. You should not want Brock Purdy back if you were on the Mac Jones is the quarterback of the future bandwagon. You don't toy with guys' health like that. Like, the people complaining about Brock Purdy not being back yet are the same ones that were like, why'd you rush him back against Jacksonville? They're trying to avoid that mistake. Joseph's saying, no, I want Brock back so he can crap the bed again. Why would you want that? You shouldn't want your team to fail or your players to fail. You shouldn't want your investments to fail. If I told you, hey, Joseph, I want your investments in the stock market to fail, why would I want that for you? Why would you want it for the team? You want guys that are getting paid to succeed. Like, you shouldn't feel vindicated. You shouldn't want to feel vindicated. You should want Purdy to jump over the expectations. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, the season's over because guys are hurt. The season's over, or 6-4. No. Looking ahead for a second, San Francisco plays the Cardinals next Sunday. A very winnable game. It'll be tough. NFC West games are always tough. When are they not tough? Today's game at some points was kind of tough. It was close. It was a one-score game for a portion of the second half. However, they have next Sunday the Cardinals. Then they have the Panthers. Then they have the Browns. It's like, then they have the Titans. Then they have the Colts and the Bears and the Seahawks. Like, there's 5 winnable games in there still. I don't think fans are like, oh, you lost against the Rams that might be the best team in the NFC West, and we're not because we're banged up, and oh my God, we stink. Oh my God, the season's over. It's like, no. This was always who you were going to be. Beating really good offenses is really hard in the NFL. You were probably going to lose this team anyways. Even if you were healthy all year, it was probably going to be split. It's how things usually happen out. Unless one team is noticeably better than the other one. You outplayed your coverage. You outkicked your coverage in week 5. Let's be honest there. And the Rams came back and said, this is more like it today. But you can win your next 4 games. And you may not. I don't know. But they're winnable for sure. More than this game was. Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, Titans. Like, that seems pretty easy. Not easy, but, easier than today was. Like, season isn't over. Like, this was a very much chalked up loss. And let's not forget that. Like, you're on the road in Arizona. You're at home, Monday Night Football against the Panthers, an extra day of rest for you. You're on the road at Cleveland. That's probably going to be the hard game against the Browns. Myles Garrett and that defense, albeit their offense is terrible. Lost to the Jets today. You got the bye week. You got Tennessee off the bye week. Honestly, if you win 3 of those games, you're 9-7. Right? 9-5. 9-5. Sorry, math is hard. 9-5. Setting up you needing to win 2 of your last 3 or 1 of your last 3 games against the Colts, the Bears, and Seahawks. You can't beat the Bears. Bears stink. They're so inconsistent. They're not a great team. Caleb got lucky because Jackson Dart got hurt and Russell Wilson came back in and he came with the football, whatever. Like, the Bears are frauds. They really are frauds. All you have to do is play 500 football. And people are like, oh, it's falling. The stars are falling. The sky is falling. No. You have 11, 12, 13, 14 bye week, 15, 16, 17, 18. 8 weeks left in 7 games. You lost today. Can you finish 4-3? That should be what it takes. Like, look at the NFC standings for a second. Okay. Right now, if things ended today, Eagles are 6-2. There is not going to be likely another NFC East contender going to the playoffs. Dallas is 3-5-1. The Commanders are terrible. They're 3-7, and the Giants are 2-6. You can write all those teams off. Boom. 3 guys, 3 teams not vying for you for a wild card spot. You have the NFC South. Things are dicey, sure, but you have the Bucks at 6-3. The Panthers are 5-5. You can control that game if you beat them, hold the tiebreaker over them. That would be great. The Falcons are 3-6. They're out of things. Saints are out of things too. So in the South, you have really one true contender for a wild card spot with you. That's the Panthers. They're 5-5. They're not that great. You can beat them. San Francisco is a better team than the Panthers. In the NFC West, you have one contender, albeit Seahawks and Rams are tied. So one of those teams are going to fall down, obviously. That leaves the spot right there. And then you go to the North. Lions, Packers, and Bears. Thankfully, you play the Panthers and you play the Bears. You can beat 2 of the teams vying with you for a wild card spot. Okay. If you are out, like if you beat the Bears, if you beat the Panthers, you hold the wild card over them, tiebreaker wise, barring your record. If you finish tied, okay, then it's the Lions and the Rams, let's say right now, are in the wild card spot. Like that number 3 wild card spot, number 7 spot in the standings is wide open. And San Francisco currently has a 1-game lead over the Panthers for it, has a half a game disadvantage to the Bears, who barely won today. It's kind of what you're looking at here. Bears and Niners and Panthers. Maybe the Vikings get involved in there, but I don't know who they are this season. Really, it's a 3-team race, 2-team race to the wild card as the number 7 seed. Maybe a third team, the Panthers, can stay afloat in the next 2 weeks, but Niners, Panthers, Bears. That is San Francisco's crop of opponents they have to be better than. Go to the Panthers schedule. They lost today against the Saints, right? They have the Falcons, which they'll probably beat them. San Francisco, the Rams, Saints again, Buccaneers, Seahawks, and Bucks. I'm going to chalk up 2 losses to the Buccaneers, a loss to the Seahawks, and a loss to the Rams, and maybe a loss to San Francisco. It can be a 9-loss team this year. Very, very doable for the Panthers to lose 9 games again this season. The schedule is not in their favor if you look at it that way. You go to the Bears. The Bears beat the Giants today barely. Okay? They have the Vikings on the road, which maybe that gets Minnesota back into the race. Who knows? They have the Steelers. They have the Eagles. They have the Packers. They have the Browns. They have the Packers again, San Francisco, and the Lions. They can easily lose games to the Lions, the Niners, the Packers. Really? The Packers again? Like, they can lose 6 games to end the year, and I wouldn't be shocked. San Francisco has the easiest schedule of the teams they are fighting with to go to the NFC wild card. An easier record. Like the sky is not falling. Everything is fine. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Touch grass. Today sucked. It really, 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 really does suck. Really sucked. It wasn't fun. But good teams lose to really good teams. Really good teams lose to elite teams. Now, the Rams aren't an elite team. They're a really good team with an elite offense, right? The Niners are not an elite team in any aspect of the word. They're a good team that lost to a really good team. No shame in that. But you have the schedule advantage. You have 2 head-to-head matchups against the teams you're vying for in the wild card. Really, San Francisco's fate's in their own hands. That should make you happy. It makes me happy. It's right there for the taking. Maybe you get a little healthier. Who knows? Nobody got hurt today. That's a good thing. You lost, got your ass kicked, but no one was hurt today. There are some positives there. And Joseph says here to end the show, do we actually have any form of confidence in them doing literally anything against a playoff team? Like, really? You know what? It's a good question. because I think San Francisco, albeit is a fringe wildcard team, they always were going to be for my own expectations, my prediction. Now, if they're healthy and have Brock Purdy back and that pure salt, obviously makes their life easier and it makes them a more formidable opponent to play come playoff time. However, we all know it's about matchups. If you're playing, I don't know, let's say the Packers, who have been up and down all year, albeit are a really good team, up and down all year. If they've, I don't know, play the Seahawks on the road, I don't know, Seattle's a good team. Maybe Darnold turns into a pumpkin. That can certainly happen. Today against the Cardinals, if you watch that game, not the box score, it was a really ugly second half for that Seahawks offense, and the Cardinals offenses could not get in the end zone. Really couldn't get in the end zone. It's like it's all about matchups. Even today, for as bad as it was, for as ugly as it was a one-score game into the third quarter. It was a one-score game all the way up until the fourth quarter, until it was 35-20. This game was 28-20 with 10 minutes left, roughly, with 12 and a half minutes left. This was a one-score game in the fourth quarter. I know it sucks, but putting things in context, Niners are okay. They're okay. They're going to be fine. But that's kind of all I got for you today. What'd you make of Kyle Shanahan's comments on Brock Purdy? What'd you make of Mac Jones' play? Do you believe in the defense to be able to bounce back next Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals? Are you hitting that panic button? Or are you saying, Sterling, I agree with you. We got to take some breaths, but we're going to be all right. Hope we can get out for Collins back. Maybe Purdy comes back. We've been saying it for a long time. I know, but I'm holding out hope he returns in the near future. Pearsall should come back relatively soon. Today was disgusting. Today was ugly, but there are some bright spots amongst a ugly mess that was a 42-26 Week 10 loss, dropping the San Francisco 49ers to 6-4 on the year and giving them their first NFC West loss this season. Drop your comments down below. And as always, my name is Sterling Bennett. Telling you to follow us on social media at 49ers_access is the X or Twitter. 49ers.access is the Instagram. And use that promo code 49ersaccess, 49ERSACCESS at SeatGeek.com to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. Thank you all so much for your time and your patience. And until next time, stay faithful.